Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about Citadel being caught by the CAT system, $659 billion in liabilities, the shorts closing, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. FINRA charges Citadel Securities for failing to report tens of billions of equity and option order events to the Consolidated Audit Trail, aka the CAT system. So this is exactly what we've talked about how the CAT system is supposed to bring transparency, and this is what we're seeing. So there's a good news and a bad news coming out of this. Now, the good news is exactly what we talked about. The people who were previously exploiting and not reporting their shorts are obviously now caught out by the CAT system like we have seen here. The bad news is you can see the fine 1.4 million, less than 0.1% per trade. So first thing I want to talk about is that even before the CAT system, wherever it's the SEC, these fines has always been minimal for these institutions, wherever we've seen with the banks, wherever we've seen the institutions, they are always so minuscule in comparison to how much profit they have made. And so that's something that we always have talked about in terms of needing to be upped, because by doing a 1.4 million fine, you can merely look at it as a cost for business, and they are willing to do that. And so that's the bad news. But the good news is that what we've wanted from the CAT system, the transparency, the truth, is now coming out as we see them fail to report tens of billions of equity. And I only think this is going to get worse for Citadel, because firstly, look at this from Peter Hart. To all the naysayers that say CAT hasn't done anything, why was Citadel trying so hard to shut it down? And why for the last 4 years have they not submitted the required trade data to CAT? So if the people that internalize 100% of their AMC flow and don't report what they're doing to CAT, why do you think AMC hasn't done anything despite 8 quarters of fundamental improvement? And again, it kind of just clarifies and emphasizes what we have been talking about, which is understanding the fact that recently we covered Citadel internalizes 100% of the AMC trades, and that's why we don't see the movement. And we know that they are doing this now because we are seeing from the CAT system that they are not reporting the equity and option order events like we have seen here. And so as long as we can see the fine going up, I definitely think it's going to be something that will limit Citadel. And what we've seen in the past before, for the ignorant or forgetful, Citadel Securities trade body sued US SEC over Consolidated Audit Trail. For those of you who obviously clocked, Citadel, along with other market makers and institutions in the past, was obviously suing SEC because they wanted to prevent the CAT system from being implemented. And now there's a clear reason for why they're doing this, because just shortly after the CAT system has been fully implemented, we're already seeing how they're being caught out. And that's why it's going to become more and more worrying, because it's going to get tougher and tougher for them to try and manipulate the trades. Now, like I said, there is some parts that we obviously need to see improvements. Firstly is the consequences. A 1.4 million fine for Citadel is very, very minimal. It's not even going to dent into them, but it is a start. We also talked about how a member of Citadel is, of course, on the committee. And so you can definitely see conflict of interest there. But this is something that I think is taking a very good step towards what we needed, because another thing to obviously look out for, and we covered this in yesterday's video, Citadel Derivatives is looking sus with $659 billion in equity liabilities. And this is exactly what we've said in terms of understanding that they are obviously worried that they are over leveraged, because by trying to hide these trades, they're trying to obviously make sure that their $659 billion in equity liabilities don't blow up. We know that their prime lender, aka Bank of America, along with all these other banks and institutions in the industry, are over leveraged with trillions of dollars in derivative contracts, which we have covered in the past before. And so it's clear to us why they're trying to prevent this from happening, and even so why they're still trying to obviously prevent CAT. And this is why they will continuously be hiding the trades, but the CAT system will bring it to light as long as we see, and again, this is the point I want to emphasize, as long as they can make the consequences more severe to the point where it will actually impact the company, whether it's a $100 million fine, whether it's a $1 billion fine, whether it's other punishments involved. These are the things that will obviously bring more fairness to the market. But like I said, it's very important to understand is that we are seeing it taking the right step towards what we talked about with fairness and transparency in the market. Furthermore, you can see basically the last 4 years. Spoofing, internalizing, front-running, failure to deliver, derivative holding FTDs, naked shorting, online bullying and distortion, paid media support, and so much more. And during that time, we've seen pay-for-play taxes for fraud. But like I said, this is just many things that we are seeing that's obviously suppressing AMC. That's not allowing the price of AMC to go up. And like we talked about, and none of this would be happening if they weren't stuck in this position. If they weren't, of course, like we talked about, having billions of dollars trapped in this play, wherever we're seeing it with the 659 billion, wherever we're seeing tens of billions of equity not being reported. That's very important to understand, knowing that Citadel is extremely over leveraged in shorting AMC and that they've just been caught with not reporting tens of billions of dollars in terms of their equity positions. And you can see, just look at the charts. So Wall Street and Citadel are telling me that AMC was worth 566 in 2021, and now that AMC is doing better than ever with debt pushed out to 2030, it's worth $4. How does that make sense? And we know, again, this is the other factors that's obviously involved in this. Like we talked about, we know that AMC's fundamentals is improving. From the OBV, we know that investors of AMC are not leaving. And so when you have people who are continuously buying into a company and that no one is selling, the fundamentals is improving, which again attracts more investors, how is it that the price is falling? And it makes it very clear it's of course with the suppression that is obviously happening. Furthermore, you can also see 120% of Cinemark is owned by institutions, while US retail own AMC. In fact, they keep manipulating the data on AMC so that it looks like 40-60 instead of 5-95 ratio that has always been. These criminals are using every possible medium to manipulate sentiment. 120% of Cinemark is owned by institutions, LOL. There's a bunch of naked Wall Street out there. And this is something that we've obviously covered in the past, where you can see in terms of the institution and retail ownership, Cinemark 120.8%. For AMC, it's saying institutions own 40.67, but we know that that's clearly not the case. And you can see the difference in price, which we also talk about here. But firstly, is understanding the fact that there's a clear reason. We know with Cinemark going up, then we know that the industry is doing well. Now, typically when the industry is doing well, the biggest company in that industry should be at the forefront, or at the very least also be doing well as well. In this case, AMC. So how is it that we are seeing every company in the industry all going up apart from AMC? And when you take a look at the difference, whether it's from in institution side, knowing that institutions own Cinemark, institutions own IMAX, but the retail own AMC, it then makes it extremely clear. You can also see here, Cinemark's price is allowed to steadily climb up with no resistance. Look how it happily rises to the top of VWAP. AMC's price gets hammered by short sellers the moment price touches top of VWAP, it gets slapped down. And we've seen this in the past. Any form of movement, of volume, of sentiment that allows AMC to go up, it gets suppressed instantly. Now, when it's just a small movement, so allowing AMC to go up 10%, you can see they do that from the technicals, whether it's spoofing, internalized shares, like we have seen here. In the past, when we see AMC go up 50, 60, even 100% in a day, we then see halts, but we don't see that for any other companies apart from AMC and GME. Like we said, that's just some of the tactics they use in order to suppress AMC, but there won't be a need to be using these tactics if there weren't billions of dollars at stake here. And that's what we talked about with the billions of short positions they've took up. And this makes it very clear, like I said, 659 billion in equity liabilities and the tens of billions of equity and option orders not being reported. Furthermore, you can see, so Travis said this, none of you short sellers will close your positions on AMC and GME. You can't, because you know there is no supply for you to exit. If so, prove me wrong, close, buy to cover. You know the price will jump rapidly if you do because of no liquidity. Now, Doug Sigfu, which is the owner and founder of Virtue, who said they closed their AMC and GME short positions. But we know that that's clearly not the case. And you can even see here, I know what happened. AMC short sellers didn't want to pay a cost to borrow fee for years. So you provided liquidity for them by naked shorting to their buy to covering, hence the lowering of short interest, because you have the market maker exemption. Now you're holding the naked short selling bag, but no sell side liquidity from retail to exit your position. You're hoping for more dilution over time to buy and close your position. So to buy time and circumvent FTD requirement, you utilize derivatives to hedge your risk and hope retail goes away before the derivatives expire. Hence why 2 years pass and the spike double the flow happens, then rolling into a new derivative, hoping apes go away. Now, this is something that we've all covered in the past, something that everyone in the community should know about. And this is why, everyone makes sure they do their own due diligence. Everyone shares what they have because it allows everyone to understand what's happening in the market. But this is exactly what we talked about. Short sellers haven't covered. They've made it look like they've covered with these different tactics, like we talked about with derivatives, like we talked about with the FTDs. But at the end of the day, we know that they haven't actually covered. And guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.